Welcome to You Bijou. Today we are going to be doing a tangle called Yincut, and we are keeping it to the basics with the Micron 01, the pencil, and the Tortillion. Feel free to pause the video and gather your things and set your intentions, bringing in mindfulness, gratitude, and intention. We're going to start with our corner dots today, creating those pinpoints for us to create a border. And I'm going to connect these with my graphite pencil. I'm not worrying about if the lines are straight. In fact, I kind of like the idea of them being a little wobbly. And then set my pencil aside for a little bit and move into my pen. So I'm going to go corner to corner, and I'm going to draw some slightly curved lines. This isn't necessarily required, but I like the way it looks when we do it this way. So I'm creating, it's going to end up being a grid. So I'm just aura-ing that curve about the same space. You can make them as wide or as narrow as you'd like. More narrow means more filling in. And then I'm going to turn my tile and I'm going to do the same thing, again, keeping a slight curve. You can see my squares are going to be many different sizes and shapes. Some less square, more rectangle. That's okay. I'm not looking for precision here in this tangle. Then I'm going to just pick a point. I'm going to turn my tile so I have like these diamond shapes. And then I'm just going to connect with lines. We'll do the first one without any sort of drama added to it or sparkle. And we're just filling in these squares, much like Night Bridge, but instead of coloring them in, we're going corner to corner. I'm, connecting the corners here as to which one I'm filling in. And I'm filling them in vertically. So I'm going to do all the vertical ones, quote unquote, plain, without sparkle. And then I will do the other direction because we're going to turn our tile and go in the other direction with a little bit of sparkle. So again, I'm looking at corner to corner. I don't want them touching. So corner to corner, I'm just going to fill in these diamond shapes. Corner. When I'm doing this, when I'm not teaching, I tend to do these lines much slower. I really enjoy the process of the pen, the ink to the paper. And then there's one over here, one over here, just making sure I get them all. Okay. Very slight one up there. I'm going to turn my tile, and on this way, we're going to go vertical again, turning my tile just to keep my hand consistent. I'm going to show you how to add sparkle, what they call sparkle. So I'm going to use a full one just so you can see. I'm going to draw a little bit, pick up my pen, and keep going. Draw a little bit, pick up my pen, and keep going. Maybe this one I go a little bit further, and then maybe the rest I don't leave a sparkle. Another way to do this is to really put a very, very, very light touch on your pen and then sort of let it lift. That's a little bit harder for me because I tend to leave really big gaps and my hands get shaky. But it can be another really fun look. So I'm just kind of showing you the different ways you can do it, and you can see how it looks almost like a torn screen door or something. Or like it's just like the light is sparkling on it. Depends on your perspective, I guess, right? A little bit funny. It's like torn screen door or like beautiful light sparkling on the water. So play with how you like to add the sparkle, or even if you want to add the sparkle. You can be really intentional about the pattern. So like if I use this one, I can go like this and then a dot and then a line and then a dot and then, I mean, you can play with what that might look like, but to me, that's not really I get too in my head, and then I get almost like logical about it and patterny. And so I prefer it to look a little more skipped, like organic. And I don't mind this shaky look. Like I kind of intentionally give it a little bit of that. And then some of it is just I have a natural shake to my hand when I touch really lightly. But play and see what feels cool for you. I don't like to do it all the way across. I like to leave some solid lines and some with some spaces in them. And then for shading for this, it's almost like you can just trace the lines with your pencil. Put a little heavy, oh, I see a spot I missed. Let's see, that's going this way. This would go this way. With your graphite, and you can be generous with your graphite. So I'm just going to redraw that grid with my graphite, allowing it to be a little thick. And I'm doing it right on that line. The original grid that we drew. And then I'm going to take my Tortillion, and I'm just going to make circles right on that line. I'm not really going to worry about how far out it goes. My squares are big enough that I'm not going to fill the whole thing, because I do want to leave that highlight, especially on the ones that I created the drama, or the sparkle, I mean. And then you can see that just creates a little bit of depth on the edges of those pillows. They kind of look like pillows to me. Yincut is the name of the tangle. So you could go back and darken that up if you wanted to, or you could leave it as is. You could almost like go around the middle of each one to kind of darken in those corners and leave just a highlight in the center. Up to you how much time you want to spend shading. I like to tip it like that so you can kind of see how it looks. And then next step would be to put our chop somewhere on this tangle. I actually feel like I like that angle, and I'm going to sneak my chop on this side. And then on the back, we will date it, then and initial it. The name of the tangle is YINCUT, and YOU Bijou. If you had any downloads or intuitive hits or even just feelings or emotions come through as you were tangling, you can write that on the back of the tile as well. And then the final step is to appreciate again. Thank you so much for joining me. Have a great day. Bye.